casework is the root of the system for how we get to the rebuilding stage. We cannot rebuild unless we have the casework done.
One of the things that I did this week was I outlined in black and white volunteer positions for people who have a background in social work. And just because your job title is not social worker doesn't mean that you don't have a background in social work. There are all kinds of jobs that are familiar with the basic premise of listening, documenting, and connecting up with resources, networking.
We do the interviews and assessments of people that are that come in and need help. Now this includes, but isn't limited to, rebuild. We interview the person to find out what they need, but also to find out what assets they have. Do they have insurance? Do they have some insurance but not all? There's many people on the coast that have lost everything, and even with insurance, it's just not going to begin to cover their loss. So the volunteers that come down to do rebuild are very necessary for that. But part of that too is to find out if they have any resources at all and can provide maybe some materials. And if they can provide materials and volunteers can provide the labor, it can help make up the gap between what resources they have and what's needed to really get them back in shape to live in the house.
Our job as Lutheran Disaster Relief is to meet the unmet needs. We are trying to help the people that cannot help themselves.
We also have volunteer position of being the meet and greet here at the clinic as well as at the distribution center. That can be an empathetic ear and help these clients fill out the paperwork. The reality is that the money comes from documenting the case, documenting these people's terrible tragedy, and that documentation leads to funding, which leads to more ability to help. We have to have the funding, so we have to have the forms. It's intimidating. There are 6 different releases that have to be signed before we can even go out and see their house.
So if there's any volunteers who would like to help with interviewing people, assessment of need.
If you are concerned that there might not be a job for you here in Biloxi because you work in an office and you wouldn't know a hammer from a screwdriver, if you have a good ear, if you are able to fill out a form, if you can pray with someone, a stranger, comfortably in public, if you can hold a hand, if you can give a hug.
And if you can show that kind of compassion and get to the real need, and you want to volunteer to do that, boy, do we want you.
These are jobs we need every day. So come, now.